Did they tell you that if you were under threat, you could be placed under a witness protection program? They told you that, didn't they?
They told me, Your Honor.
So my first question is that you're aware, are you not, that there were many small organizations and NGOs operating in the North Rift, which were...
Mr. Ken, he's already answered that. Your specific question was whether the witness has heard of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy.
Have you heard of that organization, witness?
I heard about it, Your Honor.
Have you heard of an organization called the Center Against Torture?
No, Your Honor.
Have you heard of an organization called the Anti-Torture Campaign Network?
No, Your Honor.
Also known as the ATCN. Heard of that? ATCN.
No, Your Honor.
How about an organization called the Kalenjin Youth Alliance, also known as Kalia? Have you heard of that one?
I've heard about it, Your Honor.
How about one called Good Samaritans International?
I've heard about it, Your Honor.
Yes. Now, the ones you've heard about, you're aware, are you not, that they were providing witness protection for victims and witnesses of the post-election violence in Kenya? You're aware of that?
I was not aware, Your Honor.
You were not aware?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you know, do you, that certain people like Mr. Ken Wafula, Mr. Abu Bakr Juma, Mr. Jonah Ruto, Mr. George Bett, and Mr. Thomas Getich, N-G-E-T-I-C-H, along with number 12, 13, and 15 on your list. All of these people were involved in these supposed witness protection schemes. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware, and I'm not aware to now, Your Honor.
Are you aware that the organizations that you were familiar with or you heard about, they receive funding from US aid?
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
Are you aware that one of the main conduits, one of the main implementers for US aid on the ground in the North Rift was a group called CHEMONICS, C-H-E-M-O-N-I-C-S. You've heard of CHEMONICS?
No, Your Honor, I've not heard of them.
Have you heard of Mr. Mark Lawler, L-A-W-L-A-R?
No, Your Honor.
Regional Manager of CHEMONICS?
No, Your Honor.
He has a restaurant and bar called the Well Restaurant and Bar. You've not heard of him?
No, Your Honor, I've not heard.
Did you ever hear that US aid was particularly focused in trying to get evidence against Mr. William Ruto?
No, Your Honor.
Had you heard that US aid was trying to implicate him in the post-election violence?
I've never heard, Your Honor.
Or to act as a magnet for witnesses that would somehow blame him or people that were thought to be supporters of him?
I object, Your Honor. I object, Your Honor. That's the third time that the same type of question has been put to the witness, and clearly the witness has no information regarding U.S. ID.
Objection is sustained.
Are you aware that US aid was providing protection to people that were perceived to be allied to Mr. William Ruto?
No, Your Honor, I'm not aware.
Are you aware that the benefits for witness protection that was being offered in the North Rift by these organizations was very substantial compared to the ordinary earnings of ordinary Kenyans in that area?
I object, Your Honor. I don't see how the witness can answer this type of question. And
Sustained.
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
When I say sustained means the objection for the prosecution has been accepted by the court and you shouldn't answer the question.
Are you aware that in order to get benefits, people were falsely blaming Mr. William Ruto?
I object, Your Honor. The witness can't answer that type of question.
Your Honour, this is rather surprising. It's a very easy question to ask. The answer, of course, may amount to a collateral question or the rest of it. But, Your Honour, there's been no basis for the objection to say that a witness can't be asked whether or not he knows there's a scam in place.
Can you look at your question? Whether the witness is aware that in order to get benefits, people were falsely blaming Mr. Ruto. The objection is sustained.
I'll reformulate it. Are you aware that people were giving stories, Mr. Witness, knowingly giving stories, implicating Mr. Ruto in the post-election violence in order to receive the benefits that came with the witness protection schemes being offered in the North Rift? Are you aware of that?
It is the same question reformulated. The point about it is not the formulation of it, but the substance of it. That this witness would know the people who testified.
Well, Your Honour, he knows.
1 second. And that they were receiving benefits and they were falsely blaming Mr. Ruto. Objection is sustained.
Your Honour, can I say for the record, I'll move on, but I want to make a record. The bench, in my respectful submission, and the prosecution cannot anticipate evidence. There's been no argument put forward that it's impossible, if there's a cabal, if there's a group in place that's discussing false evidence, that the witness would not be able to testify in relation to the question. So, Your Honour, I'll move on. But I have a duty to put my case, and I'm saying the witness was part of a scam, and that's what the question was focused on. And he knew that other people were doing exactly what he did, which is putting forward false evidence. But, Your Honour, I'll move on, but I wanted the record to be clear as to the ground of relevance and my objection, in principle, to the argument put forward by the prosecution, and indeed the ruling of the court that it should be disallowed. But, Your Honour, I'll move on.
You might have begun with whether he knew of anyone. But when you say people...
Are you aware of anyone, witness, who has given false evidence regarding Mr. Ruto to get benefits?
No, Your Honor.
Are you aware that people including Mr. Ken Wafula, Mr. Abu Bakr Juma, and persons 12, 13 and 15 knew completely well that the stories they were receiving from individuals regarding Mr. William Ruto were false, but they took those accounts because they were getting money from US aid?
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
Are you aware, then, with this witness, that individuals, and please include yourself in this, put in exaggerated and false claims in Kenya with these organizations, claiming huge amounts of money for rent, school fees and allowances, and they were paid simply because the story they gave was one that was in demand by USAID and other organizations?
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
Witness, before the break, in fact, while we're in closed session, I asked you a few questions regarding Ambassador Rannenberger and whether or not you knew that he was very active in the North Rift, seeking to persuade people to drop their support, their political support for William Ruto, and you said you were not aware of that. Do you remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then I asked you a supplementary question stating, are you aware that Ambassador Rannenberger was trying to get individuals to give evidence against Mr. William Ruto before the ICC? Do you remember that?
I remember, Your Honor.
And you said you had no information, effectively. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions regarding what you've received from the ICC. And the prosecution have given us details of the money they have spent on you. It's not everything from the victim witness unit, but it's OTP witness-related expenses. I want to make that clear. And if you look at the document in front of you, and I'm not going to go through it in detail, but just go to the 1st of July, you'll see that you received $3,367 US on the 1st of August 2012. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
And on the 2nd of August, the very next day, just go down, you received 3,524 United States dollars. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just so there not be any confusion afterwards on the record, I think the 3,367 US dollars, that's on the 2nd of August, unless I don't see any 1st of August for that amount.
Your Honor, 1st of August was 3,367 United States dollars, which the witness accepted receiving. And then on the 2nd of August, 3,524 United States dollars and 53 cents. So, witness, you received that as well, didn't you, the next day?
I received, Your Honor.
So, over a period of 2 days, you received the equivalent of more than 600,000 Kenyan shillings, didn't you?
Yes, Your Honor, I received.
And you had been earning less than 100,000 Kenyan shillings per year, hadn't you?
Yes, Your Honor, but it was depending on...
And witness...
One second. Let's go into private session briefly. If need be, we can repeat the answer in public. Proceed in private session, please.
We're in open session, Your Honors.
Thank you. I said we will not repeat the answer in public. I did not say we will now. I said we will not repeat the answer in public. Ms. Seb can continue, please.
Witness, between... If you look at the top of the document, you see the date there? The top of the document. Between yes, to the left, please, Court Officer. If the document could be moved to the right, so we could see the left column. Witness, you see the date on the top. That indicates the first recorded payment you received from the OTP. To the 6 months later, the last payment. Next page, please. Last page. Mr. Witness, in 6 months, you received more than 20,000 US dollars, didn't you?
Yes, Your Honor, I received.
And receipt of these funds, this money, for housing and other benefits, is a major reason why you decided to involve yourself in this process. Isn't that right?
No, Your Honor. I didn't even know that I'll be moving to one place to another.
Now, witness, we're going to go to another topic. You like a drink, don't you, witness?
I object, Your Honor.